Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, it is I, Magica, and I am here because I've just moved into a new house and I have nothing better to do with my time. Now, you may be wondering, what is this? What are we doing here? And I'll let you know. You see, for a while now, I've been contemplating starting some kind of show. You see, some kind of entertaining series of discussions wherein we navigate different points and attempt to come to some kind of greater conclusion based on what we have discussed. Okay, that is what the point of this is, more or less. Also to give me something to do. So, with that being said, say hello to the fine people out in the neighborhood if you can hear it on the video. I don't know yet. I've not done this before. And let's think about something to talk about, why don't we? I feel like people spend a lot of time talking about certain bands, right? I think that's true. You know, and I'm not a big boomer boy. I don't think that everything from the 70s or the 80s or the 60s or whatever other decade is particularly great. Most music sucks, and that's just a fact, and you can't deny it. That's simply science. But I would know. I am a science man. Can't you see my glasses? Anyways, but that being said, in spite of that, I think there's one band that we could talk about a bit more, but in a bit more detail. Okay, a bit more detail. Because I feel that although they have gotten their due, kind of hard not to, considering the significance of their contributions to the broader landscape of music at large, I feel like we don't consider their work in the fashion that they deserve to be, okay? I feel that we have observed the historical importance of this group. However, we tend to overlook the specific details of their sense of artistry and their sense of ambition that really provided the ability to grow and show these magical things that they can do. I feel like people take things at face value, kind of, and don't give it credit for the whole that is made out of their work. And of course, the band I'm talking about is the band Black Sabbath. That's right. And if anyone's editing this, I don't know if they are. I might do it if I find a program. Then at that point, I need you to zoom in and make it cursed. Cool. And then I know the joke on YouTube is you keep the editing bits in, or you tell the editor what to do because it's very funny. Don't do that. Shit's played out. Anyways, Black Sabbath is a very fascinating band. I'm not going to go over the history, but I'm just going to talk about one of their albums that I think is something of a great work, if you will. You see, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath as an album is an album from Black Sabbath which I would say is their most complete artistic statement as an individual work. Which is to say, their other albums also, I think, work as artistic statements in themselves, but I think this is the one where everything comes together in just the right way. Where everything fits where it is, and where everything is of a consistent high quality with a large thematic through line that goes through the album. If I haven't said it already, I'll say it again. It's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is the album. And I would like to start not with the music, but rather with the cover art. Because the cover art for Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is very good, but also very important. Because you see, the thing about this album is it kind of encapsulates and illustrates everything about Black Sabbath that makes it what it is. Okay, so the cover art is a man on a bed being clawed at and grabbed by demons, and the bed, and there's 666, and it's orange and red and hot. Sabbath, Black Sabbath, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, right? Or might be it was swell. And this is very interesting, obviously, but on its own, which is what most people only see, it's incomplete. It's supposed to be a counterpoint to a separate drawing, the back cover, where we see a man surrounded by loved ones, at peace, dying, but with everyone there. And the point of this, it is stated, I believe, in one of their books. I don't remember if it was Tony Iommi's or Ozzy's. I had both. I don't have them anymore. Anyways, that it's supposed to show the difference between someone who is good and someone who is evil. At the end of their lives, the person who is evil, who institutes or instigates acts of evil, intentionally or otherwise, goes to hell. They get fucked over. Where the other guy doesn't. They're cool. They die surrounded by loved ones, and so on and so forth. And it's very soft lighting, blue, cool colors. It's supposed to be relaxed or mournful but dignified, right? And that illustrates the theme of Black Sabbath. Because the thing about Black Sabbath is that they... Here, let me pause. All right. So there's another band that I like quite a bit. They're called the Beatles. You might have heard of them. And I feel like there are a lot of people who love the Beatles. All kinds of people love the Beatles. But there are a lot of people who don't. And I'm going to say that, at least for some of them, it can kind of be said that they don't have a taste for the sweet side of the Beatles, right? A lot of people don't have a taste for the sweet side of the Beatles, okay? And I get that. The Beatles can be very sweet. It's an acquired taste, but one most people have because they've influenced so much stuff. But the thing here is that the Beatles were always a band that gave you the appearance of sweet, but it was always a little salty, right? There was always a little tang, something a little more, there's always a little more bite to it than just that, right? So think about how, like, on Getting Better, right? The chorus is, it's getting better all the time, right? And then John interjects, it can't get no worse, right? Like, it's not getting better because, like, you're such a cool guy. It's getting better because you've hit rock bottom, but you're committed to improving yourself, you see. So while it is ultimately about the getting better, it is ultimately about the improving of yourself, the improving of your situation, it's illustrated and enhanced by this dark undercurrent of, like, no, this is a bad person who's getting better, right? They're becoming a good person, but they aren't one yet, right? And it's exactly that the Beatles' ability to highlight the light by contrasting it with the dark, right? And so while the dark is important, it always comes back to the light, right? We always come back to the bright side of things, right? And I bring this up to contrast this to Black Sabbath. Because to me, where the Beatles are the masters of light, they are the masters of showing you every facet of the light through the shadows it casts. Black Sabbath is the opposite, okay? These guys are the masters of darkness, okay? Because if you break down their songs, their albums, their lyrics, their everything about them, especially at least in the 70s, is that it all comes back to this theme of duality, right? The light and the dark. It all comes back to this idea as presented in this album cover and back cover combo, is the light and the dark. We're going to focus on the dark, but the light is there to accentuate the dark, to make the shadows sharper, right? To enhance the image, right? Where the Beatles would show the light by presenting darkness, right? Would accentuate the light by presenting darkness. Black Sabbath accentuates the darkness by presenting light. It's a very, very interesting contrast, and I think this album cover illustrates that beautifully. From there, we start with the first song, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, which sonically also presents this theme of duality, where we're going back and forth between this thunderous this thunderous riff, this intense riff, contrasted with this soft acoustic passage, which, while still negative, still holds some darkness. It's very light, it's very melodic, it's very pretty, all in service of bringing you back and showing you the darkness. Dun, 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 right? And that illustrates, again, Black Sabbath's thing, right? And from that, we go deeper into the album, where a second song is it's how it was before and how it was after. The third song, Fluff, is this acoustic, very pretty arrangement, I suppose. Going into this swinging, fucking rowdy, right, into the moony, and so again, everything is illustrating this contrast. But that's only part of the picture, because that's what Black Sabbath is about. Now we have to ask ourselves, what is this album about? What is Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath about? And in order to answer this, we're going to have to zoom out from here. So, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, in my opinion, would be the middle part of a thematic trilogy, if you will. This trilogy is made up of Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage. And I say this because these three albums demarcate a trilogy of connected themes and ideas, and also a very separate identity from their early stuff. Because while all I've said about the light and the dark is true for all eras of Black Sabbath, it is the foundation of them as artists. The early albums don't operate on this interconnected web format. Rather, they present a series of vignettes, individual stories which stand on their own as illustrating its own point or message, okay? So think of the first album, right? What do we have? Well, if you took out Wicked World, which is only on the American version for copyright reasons, if I recall correctly, what you're left with is an album which contains no political messages from a band that's often said to have had, been political in this era. There's no political messages on that album if you don't have Wicked World there. If you just go by the original intended version of the album, every song is its own standalone story. Some horror themes, some more thrillers, some even kind of a drama. But taken together, they're not really about the grim reality of the real world. They're a lot more in line with what Geezer and Tony have stated was the original intent of Black Sabbath, to serve as the auditory equivalent of going to see a horror movie, right? Because that's what it really feels like, their first album. A presentation of small, short films, right? The first song is its own story. The Wizard is its own story. Behind the Wall Soup is a little bit of not so much of a story, but a bit of a standalone thing that connects into a story song once again. Evil Woman, though a cover, is technically a story. And so on and so forth. And all these 3 albums are like this. The original 3 albums. Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Master of Reality. All of them present individual songs containing individual stories which tie together mostly through the way they sound. But that's not the case on these albums. On Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage, every song is thematically connected. Every song relates to a different one in some fashion. Maybe not in the most literal sense, but if you'll follow me on this journey, I think you'll see what I mean. To start with, I believe Volume 4 mostly kind of deals with being alive in early 1970s England, to a certain extent. It kind of deals with like the modern world and how it affects people, right? The things that that happen to people, and it kind of reflects change, a transition, right? Every song on the album reflects a sort of change with a disillusionment as towards the things that are happening now. For example, Wheels of Confusion is about the change from being young to being old. It's about growing up and losing your innocence and seeing what the world is really about. Tomorrow's Dream is a song about a man who's in a bad relationship, but Light in the Dark, they're getting away from that. They're making a change in their lives. They're moving away. They're going on the train, and they're going away from the thing that this relationship that is killing him, right? Follow that up with the song Changes, right? Follow that up with the song Supernaut, which, while a little nonsensical, I do believe also reflects a little bit of this change theme, especially if you take into account sonically the complete genre shift in the middle of the song to accommodate where the right, and so on and so forth. Laguna Sunrise, the change from night to day to sunrise, right? St. Vitus Dance, it's someone trying to tell you to change the way you act to save this relationship, right? And finally, the penultimate finishing point of Volume 4 is Under the Sun, where he just tells you straight up, look, there are a lot of people who are going to want to change who you are as a person, but you can't let them do that. You have to be you. You can accommodate others, but you have to be who you are. Don't let anyone else tell you different. You're you, and that's it. And then we have Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. And with Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, we again find ourselves dealing with these themes of change and these themes of disillusionment, right? The first song is about Black Sabbath. It's about people fucking you over, lying to you, right? Telling you that things are all right when they're not, being disingenuous. And it's sort of a statement of revenge, a statement of intent, right? And sonically, it reflects the change, again, the change theme, which takes us into a national acrobat, wherein we find a song about reincarnation, a song of rebirth, wherein we are given a narrator who is passing from one life to the next, pondering what this next life will bring. And again, we come to this theme of change, right? And you'll notice I said earlier, the modern world. And I think that it's a big undercurrent in all these albums, right? For example, Cornucopia is very much a sort of, I would almost say, anti-capitalist song, right? and so too is killing yourself to live. Killing yourself to live is also this sort of anti-capitalist song. It's a kind of against this idea of like that, like it's kind of a song about the idea that like every day you go out and spend your time and your money and all these things on everything else, but at the end of the day it's killing you. It's bad for you, right? You're killing yourself to live, you know. And eventually all these answers just fuck it, let's get high, which hell yeah, sure, fuck it. And that's also part of the themes of the song. And from there, you know, we go to if I recall correctly, Who Are You? Yes. We go into Who Are You, right? Which sort of deals with these themes of betrayal, these themes of darkness, right? Of this idea of having been deceived, but having seen through the deception, right? You see the truth now. You see things more clearly, right? And then into Looking for Today, into Spiral Architect. And the main thing about all of this is that these are songs about the world, right? It's about light and dark, contrast them, and it's about change, much like the album before. But where the previous album simply ended on a statement of identity, this album ends on a statement of hope. It basically says that, you know, God, and that we should, it leaves you with this cinematic ending, right? Like something out of a Miyazaki film. It's very cinematic, there's strings and it's lush. And it's kind of about both DNA and God at the same time, and how, like, the world fundamentally should be good. And that, like, it sort of leaves you with this lingering sense of, like, you've been shown all this darkness in the world, shown all this darkness in these songs, but things don't have to be that way. Things can be good, right? And we see that. We see that on Sabracadabra. We see that in Fluff. There is light in the world. It is out there, right? It's not that everything sucks and people suck and that's it. It's that this sucks now, right here, at this point in time, at this particular spot where you are. But it didn't suck, but didn't always suck, and it isn't always going to suck. It's just a matter of time until you start going through changes. I have been Magica. This has been my vlog, I guess. And yeah, have a good one.